Mindfulness with Movement before Tara Brock's Dharma talk. If anybody needs help after class, please let me know if in terms of trying to get to Tara's class. Also, I'll be on for a couple of minutes after class if people would like to stay and just share their experience of class, where they are, how they're doing, if it helped them in terms of integrating their experience. I'm kind of aware these days of just how now that the pandemic is kind of fading away, so to speak. I mean, it's still very present, but I think more people are going outside. I've noticed that, I know that within myself, but with other people as well, that we all have some type of social awkwardness. And so I'm realizing that probably people need to just say a few things if they'd like. In terms of this class, I just wanted to say that, the practice of mindfulness, as you're probably aware, I think probably everybody here has been practicing mindfulness in some way, shape, or form. But just in case, there are 3 principles to mindfulness. There is the practice of purposeful attention to some type of anchor. In our case, because we're moving, I will be saying things like, please bring your awareness to your feet. Please bring your awareness to your body in some way, shape, or form. And the idea is that, the wonderful thing about movement is that it helps us to pay attention to the second principle of mindfulness, which is the present moment. Sometimes if we're going through a lot, like many of us have with COVID, and just the shutting down of things, it can be hard to pay attention to the present moment. And, sometimes sitting in meditation isn't indicated. So movement is a wonderful, it's a wonderful way to get to that second principle of mindfulness. And then the third principle of mindfulness, of course, is non-judgment, meaning paying attention without judgment in terms of the experience that is arising within you. And I sent this out earlier today in the email newsletter about this idea of paying attention to your sensations, whether they're pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And the result of doing this kind of practice is that there is greater self-regulation in the mind, the body, and our emotions. So for today, if you'd like, I'm going to go into our movement class. If you feel at any point like you just need to sit, or you just want to do the whole class in sitting, it's totally fine. If you want to lie down and listen, totally fine as well. Feel free to ignore me if that's what you need to do. But the idea here is really just practicing with care. And I always feel, one of the important parts of the mindfulness practice is the quality with which we practice. I like to try to set an intention before every practice, before I turn this on, before I meet with you guys, that, for me, it's the practice of loving kindness, not only within myself, but hopefully helping others to cultivate it as well. So one final word, this is a donation-based class, so donations are very much appreciated. I sent that out in the email as well, but I will also put it in the chat later. So I'm going to put this mic in and hopefully this will work. Okay, so, okay, everybody hear me? Can somebody just give me thumbs up that they can hear me? Okay, thank you so much, appreciate that. All right, my friends, so what you need is, if you can see behind me, I have a yoga mat. It's helpful if you have a chair as well. Um, oops. Okay. So having a chair as well, as you can see, sometimes having a higher surface is also helpful as well. So we're going to start first in standing or in sitting. Again, the posture, the Buddha didn't make any discrimination in terms of the best posture in terms of practicing movement. It can be in standing or sitting or even lying down. So we're just going to start first with coming into a place that just really feels safest and most comfortable to you. Just right now in this moment, what posture is calling to you? And then just allowing for the space of that, the okayness of that. And maybe even asking yourself, what is the quality that you'd like to cultivate in your practice today? Is there something calling to you? And then maybe in this place, just start to deepen your breathing. And if deepening the breath just feels a little too challenging, you're welcome just to breathe in the way that feels right. I like to deepen the breath by using a count of 4 or 5. And then as you inhale, you can inhale through the nose if that works for you, and just breathing in for the count of 5. And then as you exhale, breathing out for that count of 5. In starting the practice, it's sometimes nice to breathe in through the nose and then breathing out through the mouth with a sigh. And you may notice that as you exhale, the shoulders might start to fall away from the ears just a little bit more. And if your eyes are closed, maybe allow them to open and softly scan, maybe gaze, look around in your environment, just noticing what's actually in your environment. Sometimes as we rush to get to where we're going to meet or do a practice, we forget about where we are. So just maybe looking with the eyes to your left and then maybe up to the ceiling, noticing the ceiling, and to the right, looking down. And just allowing for this movement of the eyes. And as you move with the eyes, you'll notice that the head wants to come along for the ride too. So this is very gentle circles with the eyes to the left, to the ceiling, to the side, and down. And then maybe switching directions with the eyes, looking in the other direction to the right, and just noticing if you can maybe explore this movement of the eyes and the head, the neck with just a little bit more range of motion. If you notice that there's any cracking or creaking in the neck, you might want to back off just a little bit, just until we're a little bit more warmed up. And then pausing in the center, allowing your eyes just to gaze on the horizon, just allowing the eyes not only to gaze on the horizon, but just maybe widening the space, so that maybe noticing where you can see your hands. If you'd like, you can even raise the arms up and then just start to move them forward until you can see them in the periphery and the sides of your vision. And just noticing that ability already, that your body, your eyes are working. And then bringing the arms down by the sides, we'll just start to rock back and forth on the feet, from the toes and heels of the feet. And as we do this practice, I'll be occasionally giving cues or talking about what's happening
with the body. One of the things to pay attention to or to come back to is your breathing, just allowing for the breath to inform the movement. So you might notice that as you shifted your attention to your feet or to your hands, that your breathing might have changed a little bit. So let's see if you can deepen the breath even as you move, even if you need to slow down your movements, just matching the movement with your breathing. Keeping the eyes soft, the jaw soft. And then we'll pause here just for a moment, just finding the center place between the front and the back of the foot. So allowing for just maybe a very gentle rest between the ball and heel of the foot. The knees are a little soft here. Maybe dropping the tailbone and lengthening through the top of the head. This is a very centering thing to do during the day, just letting yourself rock and breathe. And then shifting so that our weight shifts over to the left side, the left leg, and then shifting over to the right. So we're just shifting our weight back and forth, left and right. And you might notice that as you do that, that the hip can jut out a little bit. If you'd like to accentuate that, just doing this kind of sashay back and forth, which is a very gentle warm up for the hip capsule and the side waist. And this movement is meant to be pain-free. Pain-free meaning within a range of movement that gives you ease, that doesn't increase tension. And if that seems inaccessible right now, you can always pause, regroup, do less, or just visualize. And then coming back to center, just distributing your weight through your foot. We're going to actually shift again to the left, but come on the outer edge of the left foot and the inner edge of the right. And we're shifting back and forth on the edges of the feet. And this will be important later as we go into maybe more weight bearing in our pose, just understanding, feeling the feet. And then coming back to center here, just maybe noticing if there's an awareness of what's happening within the body. And then we'll integrate the breath a little bit more with our movement by inhaling the arms up, out to the side, coming together, touching palms, exhaling the arms, the hands down along the midline. So this is called a sun breath here, but turning the palms up, sweeping the arms out to the side, inhaling, exhaling the hands down midline. And then as you do this again, you might even want to allow the eyes to look up where the palms are, follow the hands down through the midline, looking down, and then inhaling, reaching up, exhaling, coming back in the middle, looking down. So just doing this gentle movement, inhaling, exhaling. It really helps too that as we go into this practice to remember just a little smile at the corners of the mouth. Just allows the nervous system to know that there is safety in this place. And as we go deeper into our practice, it's sometimes helpful to shift the breath, if you can, to the nostrils, to the nose, so that you're inhaling, exhaling through the nose. And we're going to add just a little bit of a squat as we do this, so that as we exhale, the knees bend. And then as we inhale, looking up, exhaling, just a little bend of the knees, bend of the hips. Just looking down at your feet as you do this. You want your feet about hip width apart if they're not already. You can also have them a little wider if that gives you a good sense of stability. And just because of my training, I do like to give lots of cues and lots of little tidbits of information. So feel free to ignore me. And we'll do this 1 or 2 more times. And then coming to a pause here in this chair position with the hands together, lengthening through the top of the head. And we'll take just a couple of breaths here. There's a building of sensation in the pelvis, the glutes. And then gradually pressing yourself back to standing, pausing, noticing if there's any subtle shift in the body. And we'll start to wriggle the fingers here, just wriggling them a little bit. Maybe shaking out one hand, shaking out the other. Just releasing the day. Just shaking it out. And shifting your weight, shaking out one leg, shaking the other. Shake, shake, shake. Let it all out. And pause from there. And we're going to actually make our way down to the floor. But before we do that, we're just going to do a little bit of a warm up for the wrists. So bringing the hands together, making a fist, and we'll start to do just some circles with the wrist. And switch directions. And then pausing here with the palms together again. And if you can, see about pressing the arms together in front of you. If that's too hard or too high, you can just bring the elbows down just a little bit more and just approximate. Just see if you can bring those elbows and wrists together as much as you can. And then from here, we're going to inhale and squeeze the shoulder blades back, opening through the chest. Now, since we're just really starting out, it's better to have the elbows lower so that we're just very gently opening and also just allowing these smaller shoulder muscles to know that we are going to be using them a little bit. Now, as we do this, it's really helpful to have the wrists stacked over the elbows so that as you're going back, you're not doing this, but just really coming back and squeezing and opening the chest. See if you can lift the chest just a little bit. Now, you might notice your breathing is a little different depending, and just noticing, being aware of that. That's where it is right now. And then bringing the arms together, but the right hand over the left hand over the right elbow and bringing the arm across the chest. And then bringing that arm back and the right hand on the left. And this is a movement that we'll come back to if you are sitting. This is what you can, we're going to be doing a thread the needle on the ground. But if you are sitting, this is what you're going to be doing. And I'll refer to it again so you don't have to remember it. And then one more movement before we get down. Just stretch the arms out with your fists. Your hands are in a fist. Stretch the arms out as wide as you can make them, and just turn the arms inside and out in the shoulder sockets. And this is just engaging those small rotator cuff muscles, just letting them know, but also the muscles of the chest and the back. You know, they tend to get rounded and curved and tight during the day. Now stretching the hands down and the palms out. Stretch them down, reaching down. We're going to start to bend the knees and make our way down to the floor. If being on your knees is uncomfortable, you can try patting the knees, folding the mat up several times so that you have more padding under the knees. Or if it's too uncomfortable, please sit by all means. You don't need to do this on all fours. So we're going to be on all fours if you can, with your hands underneath your shoulders. And the first thing we're going to do here is raise the right arm out to the side and down. So we're just raising and lowering it. And as you do this, you might notice that your core, your muscles, your trunk muscles are wondering what to do. So pause, bring the belly button into the spine just a little bit, and then try this movement again. And then this next one, we're going to reach up with our right hand, and then we're going to slide it actually underneath the body, underneath the left arm, turning the body to the left. This is called threading the needle. And then inhale, raising the right arm back up and seeing if you can rotate the body to the right. So this is a very gentle rotation back and forth. And remembering your breathing. And we'll do 2 more of these. And then coming back to all fours, pausing here for a moment. And we're going to just focus a little bit on the breath here. So as you inhale, just see about relaxing and releasing the belly, just allow gravity just to actually pull the belly, just allow it to droop. And as you exhale, make a little bit of an effort here, but bringing the belly button in towards the spine. And as you do that, you'll notice that the back starts to flatten a little bit. See if you can continue to draw the belly into the spine until it starts to round and the chin starts to tuck. And then inhale, releasing the belly very gently until you have a little curve in the back and the chin starts to lift. And then drawing the belly in towards the spine, rounding the back, tucking the chin. Inhale, again, releasing the belly. Exhale, bringing the belly to the spine. And doing this 2 or 3 more times. And then in this last one, as you exhale, drawing the belly button in, come all the way into that fully rounded position. And then as you start to inhale again, release the belly, but only release it about halfway. So we're just finding a halfway point between the roundings of the back. See if you can lengthen through the top of the head here. And we're just going to try again on this right side, just raising and lowering the right arm, just noticing that feeling. We'll just do that 2 or 3 times. And now we're going to switch over to the left side. Now, if at any point you need to give your wrists a break, or this is giving you discomfort in your wrists, you can also roll the mat in front of you so that the heels of your hands are just resting on the mat. So that'll take a little bit of pressure off. And so we're going to now lift the left arm. Again, just about 5 times, but just raising and lowering here. Now, as you do this, see if you can hold that in between place. And then we're going into threading the needle. So lifting that left arm up and then coming underneath the right arm, turning to the right, inhaling, turning, and lifting. Exhale, threading the needle to the right. And just continue to do that movement. If you're sitting, you can do this movement by rotating to the right and then rotating to the left. And then coming back to all fours and just noticing the sensation in your body. And we're going to actually widen the knees apart. So they're almost as wide as your mat if you're on a mat. If you're not on a mat, about 18 to 24 inches apart. And then we'll just be moving back and forth here. Just had a nice pop in my knee. You might notice some pops and crackles. Just, really being careful, being mindful of what you can do. There's no keeping up here, if that makes sense, because then if you're doing that, there's a little bit of inherent judgment there. You need to assess where your body is and do what your body can do. So do this a couple more times here. And then pausing again in all fours. We're going to warm up now the small muscles of the hips. So keeping this right foot on the ground, we'll just lift the right knee up and down. Now this can be just a very tiny movement of just lifting your knee up and doing this. Or if you can do a little more, raising and lowering that way. And then pausing for a moment, just noticing if you're feeling any waking up of those middle hip muscles. And then from here, we're going to actually draw the knee forward and then out. So it's as if we're actually doing some circles in the hips. They can be as small or as large as you'd like them to be. And switching directions. And then bringing that knee down, pausing here, just noticing what's becoming awake and aware, what's drawing your sensation attention. Pause to recalibrate your breath. And then we'll move on to the other side. So again, left foot stays on the floor and raising and lowering just the knee. So it's just this kind of turning on the foot. And then start to add in circles. So drawing that left knee to the left elbow and then up and back. And switching directions. And you're welcome to do this with the leg straight too. There's nothing, I'm doing it with the knee straight, but if you'd like, you can do it with the legs out like this as well. And then pause from this. We're going to make our way into a type of half-standing downward dog pose. So for those of you who are familiar with that, you're welcome to go into your own variation of a downward dog. For those of you who are following me, I find it helps to place the hands on the sides of a chair, curl your toes under, lean forward, and press yourself back. If you're sitting in a chair, you can come to standing and just place your hands on the back of the chair and press back here, keeping the knees soft. And just making sure that that space between the skull and the upper cervicals are just nice and long so that it's not getting tight. You might need to tuck your chin just a little bit. And breathe. And in this position, we're going to actually walk our feet forward so that they come to the top of the mat and we press ourselves into standing. We're just going to pause here for a moment, just noticing our heart rate, our breathing cadence. Are you able to practice with kindness to yourself? Meeting your body where you are. And these next series of movements, we're going to go into a lunge position. You can do this in sitting as well by sitting on the side of a seat, but I'll demonstrate it first in standing. So shifting your weight over onto the left side, engaging your hips. Inhale that right knee up and step straight back. And you can use a chair to hold on to do this, or you can sit down to do this. And then coming into this position, just allowing that left knee to perch over the left ankle. So left knee over the left ankle, right foot back, the right heel is up, and pressing that right knee back. And you'll feel a little bit of an opening here in the front of the right hip. And just see what you can do just to allow the tailbone to descend and just balance the weight between the left and the right extremities. See what you can do to straighten, to align, to balance. And then in this place, you can continue to work with the balance of just pausing here. If you'd like to also add in the arms, just inhaling, spreading the palms wide, turning the palms out to the side, and inhaling, sweeping the arms up overhead. And then exhale, palms down. So inhaling, raising the arms. If you like, you can also look up. And then exhale, palms down. As you inhale, just release, relax the belly. Draw the tailbone down. And then exhale, drawing the belly button into the spine. Remembering that little smile for your mouth there, just allowing the nervous system again to recalibrate, to regulate into safety. This last one, just inhaling, pausing with the arms here at the top. And we'll take a breath here. And as you exhale, just start to turn to the left, allowing that left hand to come to the tailbone, the right hand to the outer left thigh. You can pause right here. As you breathe, just bringing your awareness and your attention to the rib cage on the left and the right side. And the twist, you'll notice that one side feels a little bit more open and more expansive. 2 more breaths here. And in this next inhalation, we're going to raise the right arm up, turning back towards the right, but continuing to allow that arm to continue to rotate to the right side, pivoting on that right foot so that now it's pointing straight ahead. The right arm is down by the side of the right leg. And then looking down at your feet, just move that left foot so that the heel is in alignment with the right middle arch. And then we'll do a little bit of opening for the side ribs here, just sliding that right hand down the outer right thigh, inhaling that left arm overhead. And then exhaling, bringing that left elbow or left hand to the left thigh, right arm overhead. Now, as you do this movement, if you have any shoulder issues, you just want to really minimize the movement, you can also just sway in the trunk, side bending here, and you will feel an opening in the rib cage as well. Or if your shoulders are bothering you a little bit, you can have the hands on top of the shoulders and just move the elbows back and forth. But the key is finding a rhythm of flow, movement, and breath. And one more time to each side. Allowing the hands to come down to the waist. And we'll turn both feet to face forward. Just maybe noticing the sensation and changes in the body. And maybe even taking note of the strength that your body has. We're going to turn the right foot now towards the right, looking down to check our alignment of the right heel with the middle arch of the left foot, the right knee over the right ankle, and then inhaling the arms up to shoulder height. In fact, if you'd like, we can do 5 breaths here of just inhaling, turning the palms up, and exhaling, turning the palms down. Again, those little muscles in the shoulder need attention. If you're searching for a place for where to put your eyes, just allow them just to continue to scan the horizon. Then in our next breath, as you exhale, just allowing that left hand to come down to the outer left thigh, and then inhale, side bending to the left. Exhale, bringing that right hand down to the right thigh or the elbow if you want a deeper stretch. And then exhale and going to the other side, and just finding this flow of side bending side to side with your breath, taking care of your shoulders and joints. And maybe 1 or 2 more. You are always welcome to stay in the position that works for you, to explore it a little bit deeper, or to pause. And then pausing here with the hands at the hips. Maybe noticing the inner and outer edges of the feet. Just centering at your feet. And we're going to very carefully start to rotate to the right. And as we do that, we're going to lift up that left heel and pivot. So now what we want to do is just make sure that we do have that space between the feet, about hip width apart. So you might have to shimmy your feet a little bit. Again, that right ankle over the right knee over the right ankle. And once you've settled your body in between the left and right legs, we'll just inhale and just reach up. And then exhale. You can think of your arms as like a very gentle pump for the ribs and breathing. So as you inhale, the space between the side ribs widen. And as you exhale, the arms come down and the ribs come together, just gently squeezing, expelling any trapped air. One or two more here. And this last one, we'll inhale, pausing at the top. And then as we exhale, turning the body to the right, allowing that right hand to pause on the tailbone, left hand on the outer right thigh. Press back with that left knee. And just allowing yourself to settle and let go of anticipation of the next move or of getting it right. And then we're going to be turning, facing center again, inhaling that left arm straight up, looking to the left, and then pivoting on that foot so that both feet end up pointing straight ahead, the arms out to the side. Shifting your feet a little bit so that they're lined up in this star place, star position. And then bringing the arms down, resting at the side legs. Just paying attention to your breathing, the rise and fall of your belly and your chest. And start to heel toe your feet in towards the center. And we'll look around for our chair. And we're going to do a forward fold before we come into a sitting position, either at the chair or on the floor. So to do a forward fold, for those of you who are familiar with yoga, your feet are about hip width apart. You can start with resting your elbows on your thighs and just grab the elbows and hang. So that's one form. The more gentle way to do it is to place your hands on the chair, the back of the chair, soften the knees, and allow your head to hang. If you feel like you can go a little deeper, you're welcome to put the forearms down on the chair, centering your shoulders over the elbows and letting your head hang. And as you allow the body to hang, see what you can do to release the stomach and the low back. If you're feeling pressure or strain in the hamstrings, bend the knees just a little bit. If you find that in standing that's still hard to do, you might need a little bit more support by putting your arms on a chair. If you notice that the muscles of the upper neck are starting to tighten, see what you can do, maybe just to nod your head just a little bit back and forth, and then let that go. Attention and awareness is in the lower ribs, in the back body here. Releasing the brow, the jaw.
Very gently making your way into a comfortable seated position so that your your sit bone muscles are on the edge of a chair. Sit bones are on the edge of a chair. Feet are flat. And if you're feeling like sitting on the floor is more grounding for you or just feels better, just please make sure that your hips are higher than your knees. So the way to do that is to sit on an extra yoga mat or on a sofa cushion. That's also fine. So you can do the remaining positions here in either place. So we're going to start first by doing a pigeon, modified pigeon, by bringing the right ankle on top of the left knee. If you're sitting on the floor, you can have the left leg outstretched and bring the right foot onto the left inner thigh. And we'll just rock back and forth here just a little bit so that you can feel the contact of the sit bones on the chair. You'll notice as you rock forward that there might be a little bit more sensation in the outer right hip. If you're feeling any strain in the knee, you can always lift the knee up a little bit, and that will focus it directly into the outer right hip. And then just falling forward until you can feel that stretch, and you can just stay right here, lifting through the top of the head. If you'd like to just bring the practice just a little bit more internally into the body, if it feels safe for you to do so, you can start to actually round here so that the chin comes in towards the chest. If you round so much that you cannot feel the stretch in the outer right hip, come back to the original starting position, straighten and lengthen the spine, come forward until you can feel the stretch, and then start to fold forward. And see what you can let go of here, even as the sensations might be building in the outer right hip. Let go of sensation in the feet and the thighs and the belly and the neck. See if you can deepen the breath just a little bit more. And then gently pressing yourself up into sitting, releasing the feet so that now the legs are on either side of each other, parallel. And just noticing the sensation in the outer hips, the difference between the right and the left. One sit bone might feel a little more grounded, or just maybe have a little definition that's different than before. And then bringing the left ankle up on top of the right knee. Again, rocking back and forth, feeling the sit bones, just feeling the capsule, this fibrous tissue that covers the thigh bone and its connection in with the pelvis. So we're just rocking back and forth. And then rocking forward so that you can feel that stretch. You can stay right there. If you'd like to bring it a little bit more internally into the heart, just start to continue to rock until you can really feel that edge, and keep the edge as you start to bring the chin in towards the chest and the body starts to fall forward. And as you sink deeper into the pose, see if you can equalize the breath between the inhalation and the exhalation. You may notice that as you continue with your breathing, that you can go a little deeper into the position. And one or two more breaths here, or as many as you need to transition and to press yourself back up into sitting, releasing the left foot so that both legs are parallel to each other again. Both feet are on the ground. And notice the sit bones now. There might be greater awareness of this moment, at least, of the sit bones. And can you allow your body to be where it is right now without fixing, without changing, just accepting where it is, where you are. And you can continue to sit in this place. We will, in the next 2 minutes or so, continue to sit. I find that after doing that last pose, I like to just open the chest a little bit as a counterbalance. So if you'd like, you can place your hands on either side of the chair or either side of the hips, pressing down through the heels. Just continuing with the quality, the internal quality, but just allowing the chest to raise. The chin might tuck a little bit. Continuing this internal quality, even as we just allow the shoulder blades just to squeeze a little bit together, releasing the jaw. And then coming back into this sitting posture, feeling the sit bones, the shoulders stacked over the hips. And in this remaining minute of our practice, just letting go of all technique, finding a place of support for your body and just allowing yourself to receive the goodness of your practice. And if your eyes, just very gently allowing them to flutter open. And coming back to this moment where we are finishing our practice. And I'm gonna stay here for until about 7:30 if anybody would like to check in and talk about